time to go to work. Okay, it's time to go to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, if that doesn't get you fired up, then you don't have a pulse. Good evening, one and all. This is the EndZone Week 0. I'm your host, Brandon Dunn. The run to Columbia has begun as the high school football scene here in South Carolina is underway. A host of schools in action tonight. 3 are looking for a repeat when it comes to state championships. 2 are in action, Green Sea Floyd's and Florence Christian. Myrtle Beach off until next week when they open action. But we're going to start off in Class 5A with a team that won the region last year, and boy, they did it in dramatic fashion, and they were quite good. Looking to continue their winning ways, we're talking about the Knights from West Florence at Memorial tonight, taking on Crestwood, who had a very good defense. How will this one play out? Let's take you out to the action and get things going early on. Knights running the ball. That's their bread and butter, and why not, huh? It's worked for them, and it continues to do so right here. The result, how about that pick up there inside the Crestwood 20? Then they bring in the quarterback, George Pretty Boy Floyd, running, roping, and doing his thing. He's breaking off 20 to the house on the keeper. That gives the Knights the early 7-0 lead. Oh, but West, they weren't quite done, doing more damage on the ground. They're going to do a lot of that this season because they have the skill players to do it. Wyatt Emerson, the pitch, he'll get the catch, finds plenty of real estate, finally brought down, but not before he's inside the 15. That's going to bring Floyd back to the mix. He pulls it, keeps it, rumbles his way in for the second score of the game for the Knights. They tack on one more, and they win this one tonight. They shut out Crestwood, as a matter of fact, 23-0. Knights win it as they pick up their first win of the season, as they get things going early and often and look good doing so. Obviously, it's just week 0. They have, of course, a lot more football to go, and I'm sure that Jody Jennerette would like to see some improvement. Speaking of Jody Jennerette, he is going to join us live right now from Florence. We'll bring in Coach. And Coach, I got to ask you, my friend, big win tonight. Obviously, you and I just talked. You weren't quite happy with a few aspects, but you still got the win, and that is pretty much what you go out and do every Friday night.
Yeah, before we start, I'm trying to get over being harassed about being bald earlier, but I'm trying to get through that. Yeah, man, we played. I thought we did some good things. I love our defense. You know, I told everybody they'd be the most improved group without a doubt that we have, and they stepped up and got a shutout. And can't say enough about George Floyd coming in. You know, Hale got a little banged up early, and George just is doing what George can do. George is a dude. He's one of those guys you just love to have on your team, and you know, I'm just super happy that we found a way to win.
You know, you set the establishment last year on getting this team back to where you want them to be in your first year. How do you come into your second year and try to build off what you did last year, reaching the lower state championship and winning the region? I mean, does that put more pressure on you, or are you just going with the flow?
You got to go with the flow, because, I mean, you're not going to – last year was last year. We're not going to be the same team. I mean, we might be as good, but we're not going to be the same team without a doubt. And the biggest thing our guys did when they got back in January, we kind of got back to lifting. We told them last year was last year, to shut the door on it, and let's progress and let's see where we can go with this thing. And you know, I know on paper it probably don't look like a big win tonight, but it was a huge win for us, just from the standpoint of, hey man, this is a new year. We got new guys. We got to get this thing going again. And you know, I'm glad we were able to play. We only got one scrimmage during the preseason, and just to get on the field and find a way to win was very good for our football program.
How much did the weather delay affect you, or did it affect you at all? I know you guys started late, which seemed to be the case with everybody.
Hey, I texted Ed Piotrowski. He told me play whatever Ed says. That's what we're going to do. And Ed told me at 7:30 the rain would stop, and when you know it, at 7:30 the rain stopped. We started at 7:30 and we played, and we had a lot of delays because of penalties. We did a lot of dumb stuff, as far as West Florence goes. But yeah, we were good. No weather delays. Weather was perfect, and it was a great night for football.
All right, my friend, you're moving on. Talk about next week's game. What you want to see from your club going into Week 1.
We got to clean up the penalties. I mean, the number one problem we had tonight was penalty after penalty after penalty, and a lot of that had to do with them. I mean, you can't say enough about what those guys did. They didn't have a very good year last year, but they came in a fault and they played as hard as they could possibly play. And we've got to get a happy meeting. We got to find a way to score some points to take some pressure off our defense next week.
All right, my friend. Hey, I want to tell you something. That wasn't me dogging on your baldness, my friend. You got to give somebody else. You got to heckle somebody else about that. That wasn't me. You're looking good. You're shaking what God gave you.
I don't know who it was.
Yeah, you're shaking with what God gave you, so it's all good, my friend.
It's all good.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight.
Bango.
Huh?
All right, man. I'll holler at you.
All right, have a good one. Thanks, buddy.
We'll holler at you.
All righty, see you. All right, folks, let's continue on. Thank you, Jody, for joining us live there. Big win for the Knights. Let's continue on here on the End Zone as we continue to roll on. South Florence on the road at James Island, and let's pick this thing up as the Bruins looking to get their first win of the season on the road. Unfortunately, special teams not going the way David Prince would like to see. The block punt there, James Island gets the ball, and we're staying in the first. Wilson loses the rock, and the Trojans rip it away. James Island recovers, so that's 2 miscues, and those really came back to bite the Bruins because they just unfortunately couldn't get things going. And then when you have things like that happen, you know it's not going to be your night. James Island gets on the board as they score on the tip. Bruins get the ball, and they're trying their best to get their offense going, but too many turnovers, too many penalties, too many mistakes. That's going to cost you in the end, and that cost the Bruins a win despite getting the touchdown there as James Island would beat South Florence tonight. 32-12, Bruins drop to 0-1 on the young season. Still a lot of football left to play. We'll see what happens, but next week doesn't get much easier as one of the best in the state of South Carolina will be at Memorial to take on those Bruins. We're talking about Hartsville, who was off tonight. They had a first-round bye. So we'll see the Red Foxes in action next week as they head over to take on David Prince and the Bruins. Socastee at home to open the season against West Brunswick. The Marty Jacobs era at Socastee begins. And here come the Braves. First quarter action. Socastee trying to get something going with Darius Lewis. Gets a terrible snap from the center. He picks it up, but unfortunately, he's brought down in the end zone, and in football, that's called a safety. 2-0 West Brunswick. Second quarter we go. Trojans on the keeper in Socastee territory. Fletcher, he'll call his own number, and with a little tug from his teammates, he gets in for the score. That would put the road team up 10-0. They would score a few more points after that, and they shut out the Braves. The final tonight's over at the reservation, 28-0 West Brunswick over Socastee Braves. They start off the season 0-1. They go into a bye with plenty of things to correct as they will turn the page and prepare themselves for week 2 when they return to action. Loris, St. James, Jamie Snyder and his Lions taking on Tommy Norwood and those Sharks. And after a Loris fumble, Sharks going to cash in on the field goal. It's Herring up and true, 3-0 St. James. Later, Sharks back on the offensive, facing third and long. Ethan White laying out one to perfection. Randy Smith, the senior, with the first touchdown for St. James in 2019, and the Sharks were up 10-0. Loris looking to answer. They'll go to their quarterback, Gage Connor on the keeper, pulls the Lions within 10-7 as we head toward the break. Sharks one last chance for a late field goal with less than 10 seconds to go on the board. But unfortunately, Herring, this one not up and true. As we go into the break, the Sharks had a 10-7 lead, and this one goes back and forth, and St. James would score late to beat Loris. The final tonight from the Shark Tank, 32-28. big win for Tommy Norwood and his Lions, and his Sharks, as they go to 1-0 on the season. Boy, that's, talk about momentum builder. That's a big one over a very good team from Loris. So now they turn the page, and they'll remain home next week to take on Hilton Head. As for North Myrtle Beach, they will be at Loris next week as the Chiefs will have their annual gathering against the Lions. Those two meet every year because, of course, they're right down the road. Should be another one come next week. Darlington and Sherraw. The Braves without Andy Poole suspended indefinitely, so we'll see if he returns. Falcons forced to punt. Jalen Coit recovers. He's finally run out of bounds, but not before they're in good shape. The quick strike out here. Reggie Davis following his blockers, breaks a couple of tackles, finds a lot of green grass, and finds himself a touchdown. The Braves looking good despite having to wait a little bit longer than most tonight due to a weather delay. But the Braves shut out the Falcons. The final from Sherraw, 28-0. Braves over the Falcons as they pick up their first win of the season and their first game of the season. They'll head down to Marlboro County next week. That one always a doozy when those two square off because obviously they're right down the road from one another and they have been playing each other a long time. As for Darlington, they'll look to turn the page as they will take on West Florence. The Knights coming off that win tonight over Crestwood. They will head over to the Falcons' Nest to take on Darlington next week. All right, the ABC 15 EndZone Game of the Week. Yet another big one right here on the Grand Strand. A ranked opponent in North Myrtle Beach, home in Little River to take on Conway. The Tigers looking to bounce back after a less than stellar season a year ago. Despite making the postseason, just 3 wins, something that they're not accustomed to seeing over in Conway. Could they get off on the right foot? And how will the Chiefs get things going with a young football team? Let's head up to Little River, and here come the Chiefs, ready to play a little action. They had a lot of running backs, and they get things going with their running backs. Ramsey Lewis playing quarterback and running back, and he gets in there for the touchdown. 7-0, and we got ourselves a ball game as we got things going. Lewis cuts right back, slips, and he'll score. And I tell you what, the Chiefs were looking good, up 10-7 at the half. Third quarter, more from the Lewis machine. Coming up with the nice defense was the Chiefs, and then they go back on the offensive. Another touchdown for the guys in blue, and that would put them up 17-7. Yeah, Lewis and company having themselves a fine and dandy time in front of the blue crew and the home team and the home fans up in Little River. The offensive line going back to work, and, you know, they just got things going tonight. It was a big win for North Myrtle Beach as they win it tonight 24-7 over Conway to win the ABC 15 EndZone Game of the Week. This is the second straight year that the Chiefs have knocked off the Tigers to start the season. Last year when they did it, they went on and made a nice run in Class 4A. We'll see if that continues and that trend continues this season. As for the Tigers, well, they will go home next week and wait for Nation 4 to come in to the backyard, see if they can grab their first win of 2019. As we alluded to earlier, Chiefs will head to Loris to take on the Lions a week from tonight. But we're not done with the ABC 15 EndZone Game of the Week, not by any stretch, because our own Casey Hintz was with the team after the game to put them in the end zone, the spotlight in the end zone, and she joins us now with the winning head coach, Matt Reel, and the Chiefs.
Hey, thanks so much, Brandon, out here at North Myrtle Beach with the EndZone Game of the Week winners, the first ones of the season. North Myrtle Beach, you guys are our first week winners. How does it feel to get a first win under your guys' belt? All righty, and of course, joining me right now is head coach Matt Reel. Coach, we talked about this earlier before the game even started. You said we're just going out there and looking for a way to win. We've been talking about the youth, the inexperience. Just what can you say about this group of guys tonight?
Just played their tails off, played for each other, and did all the things we preached every day in practice. And just really proud of them as a group. There wasn't one guy, it was everybody. And that's the biggest thing I love about our group right now. It's a whole team thing.
And that offensive line able to allow Ramsey Lewis to run through that defense that is arguably going to be could be one of the best units in 5A, and they were unable to stop them. What's the offensive line? What did they do for you tonight?
Just hard work, grit, toughness. We weren't tired. If you saw people, they were falling down tired. We weren't. We're ready to roll. We're pushing tempo. And that's why I tell our guys, we run during the summer, we run during practice. They hate me for it, but that's why. And I'm just really proud of our guys of in the third and fourth quarters taking over the football game.
Mm-hmm. And also to go again touch on Ramsey Lewis. You know, the first time playing quarterback here in a game situation. Just what was your thoughts on how he managed the ball control and just how he managed this offense?
Oh, he did a phenomenal job. Did a great job just orchestrating everything, taking what was there, not trying to make a home run, and just running our offense the way it needed to be ran. So hats off to him for having a great night tonight for us.
Alrighty, and we talked about before this who is going to get the game ball, and you ultimately told me there's not one person. This whole team is going to get this game ball.
Absolutely, we're going to put this thing up in our locker room, and everybody that walks by is going to see it, and they're a part of it. And it's not a one-guy thing. It's not a one-coach thing. My staff is tremendous from top to bottom, and our team plays really well together. So I'm just super proud of them tonight as a group, and they deserve it.
Alrighty, Ramsey, just get your thoughts out there. I mean, not only were you running through that Conway defense, but like I said, it was the first time running this offense in a game situation. Just what was that like out there for you?
Well, it was fun. You know, I want to give credit to my offensive line. They all blocked their tail off today. I want to give credit to my wide receivers. They caught the ball, they made plays, and it was a team effort. The defense held them to 7 points. You know, we balled. That's all, we made a statement. That's all I got to say.
Well, when you were warming up, I was filming you, kind of shooting some shots, and you were telling your receivers, you were like, I'm going to throw it today. In some other words you were saying, but you told them you were going to throw it today. Just, you know, talk about that game plan and how every single one of these guys executed it.
Well, everybody did a part. You know, it wasn't just one person. Everybody executed really good. And we came together as a group, and we made a statement. I'm just proud of everybody, proud of my whole team, proud of all y'all boys. Because we pulled together. Y'all boys know what happened. I'm glad we did this.
Alrighty, well, I am going to hand the game ball to you, but this is a full team game ball. Of course, like I said, North Myrtle Beach winning this one 24-7 in the first game of the week here on the End Zone. But for now, Brandon, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Casey, thank you very much. Big win for Matt Reel and the Chiefs. We'll see if they can continue that next week as they head to Loras to take on Jamie Schneider and those Lions. Of course, that's next Friday, week 1 of the high school football season. But hey, we're not done, not by any stretch of the imagination. We got a lot more coming up, scores and highlights. We're going to go live to Latta. Talk about a big game between Latta and Mullins. Boy, it went down to the wire. Final ticks on the clock. Brandon Eisman will join us here shortly. Scores and more highlights coming up when week 0 of the End Zone rolls on. Ladies, take us out.
You're watching